Nacho Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live on YouTube on the EBL exclusive Battle League Network. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays.
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme,
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Hosted by FiboNacci Brown. Don't forget to go to FiboNacciBrown.com to get your copy of Growing Down.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Brought to you by the exclusive Battle League Network. EBL. What up, though, family? Happy Sunday. Welcome to the season 2, episode 11 of Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I am your host, FiboNacci, Big Nacho Brown. And we have got quite the nacho to devour this week. But before we get started, as my Nachotarians already know, we have got to go through the announcements. So let's get the announcements started. We're going to check out with our chat, and then we're going to move into our nacho. I know y'all hungry because I am. Again, I'm your host, FiboNacci, Big Nacho Brown, your host of Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And listen, for my battle rap fans who tune in, and who can't wait for another EBL event. Like, I can't wait for another EBL event, and EBL definitely stands for Exclusive Battle League. If you know, you know. It's been rumored that there's going to be a battle over there called the Blueprint. I heard there might be a battle over there called the Blueprint going down. And if, like I said, if you know, you know. There may be some time to remind folks of who EBL is in the community of battle rap. Like, there was a time where the only thing there was when it came to battle rap was being able to do so in the audio space. And EBL Exclusive Battle League, if it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. They are top tier in that arena. So if they are talking about doing an event, it's going to be worth tuning into. And again, allegedly, there's an event going down over there called the Blueprint. So if I get some more details, I'll definitely share them with my Nachotarians. And a little caveat to what I heard about that Blueprint battle, I heard that Miss Vicious might be making an appearance in that battle. So I would love to see who she's battling. I would love to pull up to that battle. So again, the more details I get, the more I will share them with you. Also, again, if you have not gotten your copy of Growing Down, I am still holding at the introductory price. Make sure that you guys head over to Nacho Sunday. Definitely head over to Nacho Sundays, but make sure you head over to FiboNacciBrown.com and get your copy of Growing Down, The Observation of the Masculinization of the Black American Woman. I am a published author, and I wrote that volume 1, and I am currently working on volume 2, so there will be an additional installment to that. But make sure you guys head over to FiboNacciBrown.com so you can get your copy. Again, I'm holding at the introduction rate, and I'm enjoying all of the traffic, all of the questions that are coming through the email over there. I'm loving the back and forth. So again, guys, make sure you head over there so you can get your copy. Now, in addition to me being a published author, I am also one half of the project Scription Volume 2. The Scription Volume 2 project, my collaboration with my better half, 2-1 Illuminist. We have a project out here that is it's gonna be hotter than the Detroit summer. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, first of all, volume 1. If you don't have volume 1 yet, volume 1 is already in the vault. It's already being remastered. Those who have it have it. Those who don't gonna have to wait till the remaster comes back. But volume 2, if you haven't seen, first of all, we have our single Oplings from the volume 2 that is killing it over there on every. First of all, volume 2, you can stream this on Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Apple Music, and YouTube. So any of the streaming platforms that you use or subscribe to, you will be able to find Scription Volume 2 on those platforms. And you can also check out the video for Oplings, the single from Volume 2. And listen, when you see the visuals, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's and how can I say this? An amusement park for the eyes. We try to keep the visuals popping for you, and we are going to continue to bring that energy with future videos to come from the Volume 2 album. So make sure you guys are checking out Scription Volume 2. It's worth it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, just because I like to be, telling stuff when it comes to our albums. Volume 3 is almost finished. Volume 3 is almost finished. We're gonna be looking to get into the mixing and mastering stage. Each volume of this project it's so different than the other, but the message is so fundamental and the same. And we keep that consistency in a fresh way each volume. So I'm happy to share this with you guys. I can't wait to see your feedback on it. So again, make sure you guys are checking out Scription Volume 2. That is the collaboration with myself, FiboNacci Brown, as well as 2-1 Illuminist. And listen, I don't think it gets said enough. When you hear this album and you're listening to the production, all the beats are 2-1 Illuminist, okay? So I know you hear him rapping on the album, but those are his beats too. So that's a whole separate monster. Like, we're not even going, we need a whole nother show to just break down that monster of just the beats and the production. But he definitely lent his skills and talents to make sure this project was an epic project. And I'm proud of it. He's proud of it. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So additionally, make sure you guys are heading over to commodityproductions.com. Commodity is definitely the hidden hand behind the production piece of EBL projects, as well as some other projects of some of your favorite battle rappers. Commodity makes sure that the things we need to get done so that we have these great layouts and great platforms, and it looks nice and communication is nice. He definitely helps and assists in a great way with all of that. So make sure you guys check him out on commodityproductions.com. Also, I need to make sure that I am also throwing a check him out to the OG, Oflo. Make sure you guys are checking out Oflo on Beats, Bars, and Buds on X, formerly Twitter. From what I understand, it's the hottest freestyle show, hands down. And if you're trying to get your chops up, that's where you need to be. That's where all the eyes are. That's where people are going to be seen so that they can be heard for the skills and what they have when it comes to rap and battle rap. So if you're trying to get seen, you might want to check him out on X, formerly Twitter. That's Oflo on the Beats, Bars, and Bud show. Now, I'm going to slide over to my chat for a second. Let some of those announcements marinate. But again, guys, thank you for sharing your Sunday with me on Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. We got a lot to talk about. But before we do, I want to say what's up to Miss Vicious. She was first in the chat. She like, listen, I don't know what y'all heard, but I'm over here watching Nacho Sundays. That's what I said I was gonna do, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm first. So, hello, Miss Vicious. She said, I'll wait for the nachos. Somebody likes to devour a nacho on Sundays. Scription volume is in the house. That would be the album I was telling you guys about earlier. Say we in this thing. Yes, indeedy, sweetie. Wayne Almighty is in the house. What's going on, Wayne? 21 Excel. I was just telling you guys about 21, who is responsible for the beats and production on the Scription Volume 2, Volume 1 and 2 album, actually. Volume 3 as well, but that's not out yet. But yes, 21 is in the house, my fave. And Road to a Meal Media. I appreciate you guys pulling up this Sunday. Thank you for hanging out with us. Road to a Meal Media. Salute to you. So listen, let's dig into this nacho. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, you might be tuning in for viewership. When we get ready to devour our nacho, we start off with the nacho cheese. And in the nacho cheese, we talk about money, different ways that we can utilize our money, different ways that we can understand our money, different ways we can make money. We talk about that in that segment of our nacho. And this week, the nacho cheese is going to be the discussion about Walmart. Walmart said, bye-bye self-checkout. There are a couple of locations. I believe one of those locations is in Missouri. The other is in Cleveland, Ohio. And in those locations, Walmart will be removing the self-checkout. Now, I also read that there are some other retailers who are looking to follow suit, such as Target, when it comes to either removing self-checkout or reducing the criteria in order to use self-checkout. If you just have a few items, you can, but for larger, if your basket, you can't see over what's in your basket, you're gonna have to take that to a regular old-fashioned checkout and let somebody scan that stuff. But part of the reason that Walmart has advised they will be removing the kiosks was because they wanted to give their associates a chance to provide a more personal and efficient service, quote unquote. Now, I'm reading that and I instantaneously hear translation, y'all be shoplifting. Okay, let's just cut to the chase. They taking the kiosk because you guys are stealing. Yeah. Y'all been joking about it online. Yeah, I got a whole turkey for the price of a pack of bacon. Like you guys are bragging about it. You guys are talking about it, how you're scanning one thing and it being something else, or how you only scan 5 of the 10 items that you had in your cart. You're bragging about it. And the results are showing up in retailers opting out of self-checkout. So from what I understand, a study was done in California. California has, the LAPD has reported a 16% increase in the reports related to shoplifting by retailers in that area. Now, that's just the LAPD. When you take things onto a wider scale, since 2021, or I should say in 2021, the theft losses to retailers totaled nearly 94 billion. Okay, so retailers reported losing at least 94 billion in product due to shoplifting, and it's only climbed since 2021. So in 2022, that number jumped from approximately 94 billion to 112 billion. Okay, so so everybody's been caught on to the self-checkout now, and now with the self-checkout that's not which is really the self-checkout, that is being combined with something called the flash mob rob. Okay, people are going in droves. It's a group of people. They go into a store, they take garbage bags, duffel bags, and they're literally arm clearing counters of product from retailers. And a lot of them have been really hitting some retailers hard who have had to report those losses. And with that combination, with the flash mob robbed, and the self-checkout, which is, really a self-checkout, combining that in 2023, theft losses reported by retailers climbed from 112 billion to 121 billion. So we're talking 94 billion in 2021 to 121 billion in 2023. I can only imagine what it's going to be in 2024, and I can see why retailers like Walmart and Target are choosing to opt out of the self-checkout kiosk thing. I know on one hand it was suggested that, well, the kiosk doesn't require health insurance. The kiosk doesn't need a lunch break. The kiosk is not complaining that it needs a 15-minute break. It's there whenever the customer is there. And a lot of retailers saw a savings in that. They saw an efficient way to utilize resources. Ultimately, because of how the theft loss is climbing in the retail sector, when they are weighing the pros and cons, the math ain't mathing. They'd much rather hire somebody to scan each item in each basket rather than continue to lose money on the kiosk and the self-checkout. Now, one other caveat to this is self-checkout has afforded an opportunity to people who wouldn't normally think about stealing. They are considering it because there's nothing in between them and the register, so to speak. So where somebody has to pick up, scan, you have a physical person there. When you're the physical person there, it's like boop, boop, boop. You kind of help yourself, to the employee self-checkout discount. And it's starting to show up on the back end for these retailers who can't continue to take these losses. So in my opinion, it's probably time. It's probably time that the self-checkout had some regulation to it. I know that a lot of the retailers, whether they want to admit it or not, they liked not having to hire additional people in order to do the register and in order to not have to cover other things that come with a physical employee. And to an extent, it's one of those things where it sounds good on paper, sounds good in theory, and then in application, 121 billion losses. So you have to be able to weigh it out in a way that makes sense to your bottom line. And I can't imagine that this made any sense when the theft losses continue to climb year over year. So in a perfect world, this might work. In a perfect world where people were honest and hard times didn't exist, this might actually be a great thing. But when you got people who are like, listen, I ain't had a seafood boil since my last tax return, and it's time. And I'm just going over here to the self-checkout. I ain't going to bother nobody, and hopefully don't nobody bother me. And I'm going to just go and get the stuff that I need to do this seafood boil, which is $12 I got. And that's going to be that, and Walmart said not today. Target said no way. So, it would be great if we could be more honest. It would be great if we didn't have to contemplate. But I think that when you don't have a person in between the transaction that actually represents the business or the establishment that you're in, you provide temptations to people that they normally wouldn't take, but might feel pressure to actually be like, maybe I don't need to scan this steak. Maybe I will go ahead and get my TV for the price of a canned good. I'm scanning it. So when you think like that, you got to be able to be cautious. You have to be able to put the proper precautions in place. And I think that's what Walmart is attempting to do. I also think that's what Target and other retailers are attempting to do by removing these self-checkouts, because the self-checkout is on them. They got to check themselves because it's costly and it might not be worth it. So for those of you all who are like, girl, I just hit the good old Walmart. I hit the Walmart, get what I need for whatever I got. And it's going, I make it enough, no more of that. So I suggest you guys restructure your pennies and your budgets and understand, it ain't free mart no more. You can't just go in there and scan your stuff like you used to in these two starting locations in Missouri and Ohio. You're gonna have to start figuring out a way to actually have those things, make it yourself, or bad. Let's not go get a record over, that soap that smells so good, but you don't want to pay the extra couple dollars to really pay for it. It's not worth it. Now, I also want to point out how people who are doing these kinds of flash mob robs, they are not just targeting large retailers. Some of these people are also targeting mom and pop shops, which is unfortunate because they are going to have a much harder time trying to replace that inventory than, say, the larger retailers. I'm not trying to encourage it targeting one over the other, but I am suggesting that where you think you're doing these flash mobs and not hurting somebody who, that can take it, you really might be doing damage to a mom and pop shop. So, maybe that might give somebody pause before they try to go into one of these smaller retailers who might not be able to recover from the hit as well as a larger retailer might. So just think about that. Let's be a little kinder to each other, especially to our retailers who are trying to keep our money circulating in an economy that we all need, and profit from, benefit from, and contribute to. So, let's think twice. Now, I also wanted to, before we get into the beefy nacho, because the beefy nacho might take a minute. Before we get into the beefy nacho, I wanted to definitely give a shout out to a couple of people in my city who are doing some fantastic things that I think do nothing but add wonderfulness to our city. Some people who I know personally. I want to shout out Marv One. He just dropped an album. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Make sure you guys check that out when you are heading over to your favorite streaming platforms to play several hundred spins of Scription Volume 2 by FiboNacci Brown and 21 Illuminous. Make sure you add to the playlist with Marv One. I know he's your favorite battle rapper, especially from Detroit. Make sure you add Marv One to your playlist with his album, I'm Fine. Thanks for asking. Also, one of my classmates from high school, she's been doing some fantastic things. Her name is Shannon. We call her Hollywood. She is the progenitor of Bag Crush. So if some of you guys have seen the handbags Bag Crush, that is a retailer right here in my city, and she's been doing fantastic. So I wanted to shout her out. I've been seeing her get her hands involved in some wonderful things, and she's going to also be doing an appearance in a local play coming up here soon. So make sure you take your Shannon Bag Crush bags to the play when you are supporting her and the rest of the cast in the upcoming play. I forget the name of the play. I'm going to have that for you guys next week. I just wrote it down. I don't know where that sticky note is, but make sure you guys check Shannon out as well. Get your Bag Crush. Fellas, make sure you get your ladies one. Ladies, make sure you have yours. Fantastic artwork on the bags as well as the craftsmanship. You won't regret it. Another person I wanted to mention, another classmate, Nita's Craft Room. Nita is actually showing people how to crochet. And when I tell you that some of the pieces that she has been putting together, she has done everything from boot covers to purses, dresses to skirts and skirts, hats to half jackets. You name it, she can probably crochet. One of her major pieces was the granny coat. It was a long labor of love from top to bottom. It was a long crochet duster, and it had beautiful colors, beautiful handwork in it. She is now teaching classes at one of her brick and mortar locations. So I wanted to congratulate her on the brick and mortar location. And I also wanted to tell her that I am proud of what you're doing, and I can't wait to get me Anita's Craft Room piece because I've been seeing them and it's on my wish list, and I've been trying to talk to the mister and let him know that I need my Nita's piece as well. So shout out to them. They are, like I said, they are definitely doing their thing in and around my city, and I am very proud of the things they are doing. So I wanted to make sure I brought them up. Now I am seeing some things happening in my chat. Okay. MSG Soul has made it to the chat. I appreciate you pulling up to Nacho Sundays on this season 2, episode 11, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And Soul has his scription is fire. I appreciate that. Thank you for checking out Scripture Volume 2. I want to encourage the rest of you guys to do the same. You won't regret it. I will warn you, though, there are a few tracks on the Scripture Volume 2 album. Make sure you are careful if you are driving on the freeway and listening to those. They will make you drive fast. Okay, so he said this is Greg. Greg is using a burner account, trying to make sure he got here to Nacho Sundays. I'm crying. I appreciate you pulling up, Greg, showing a lot of love right now. He said he can't remember his login. It's okay. You made it here. We gonna put some respect on your name, Greg the Great. I appreciate my chat. Listen, my Nachotarians know the chat is a huge part of the show. We definitely show love over here. When you pull up to the chat, I'm definitely going to end up shouting you out because we have to look and see who's supporting us so we can support them. So make sure you make yourself known. If you need to, catch the replay so you can see what the announcements were. My announcements be juicy. Them like the nacho appetizers. I mean, I know a nacho might be an appetizer, but that's what the announcements are like, the nacho appetizers. There's a lot of stuff in there where you can check it out and get hip to some stuff that's going on in and around where you at and on some of your favorite streaming platforms. Right now, we are going to take a small break and say thank you to our sponsors. And afterwards, we'll be back to dig into the beefy part of our beefy nacho. So we're going to see you in just a moment.
In my mental. This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice.
A woman is the most potent expression of feminine energy in the harmonic equation of the human experience. Growing down. An observation of the masculinization of the Black American woman. Volume 1. Get your copy at FiboNacciBrown.com.
You are now listening to the Nacho Podcast. Brought to you by the EBL Network. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. It's not your time to talk. It's time to listen. So pull up to the table with your plate and pay attention. It's not your time to talk. Not your Sunday. It's something different. This is not your opinion, and you don't want to miss it. It's not your time to talk. It's time for the show.
And welcome back, everyone. We are getting ready to dig into the rest of our nacho. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I want to welcome you to season 2, episode 11 of Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion is Nacho's opinion. And I am your host, FiboNacci Big Nacho Brown. And right now we are getting ready to dig into our beefy nacho. Now, for those of you who don't know, you might not be quite nachotarians yet. I'm going to catch you up. The beefy nacho is where we talk about conflict anywhere it may exist in the world. And this episode of the Beefy Nacho, we are going to be talking about the USA versus TikTok. What is going on, y'all? Why are we beefing with TikTok? Well, let's talk about it. On 3/24, which or maybe it was 4/24, 3/24 or 4/24, very recently, the Senate and Joe Biden has signed a ban on TikTok that will ban them from being able to be used in the US unless they sell the interests of what they have gathered thus far to the United States. Now, by not doing so, they have suggested that this is the United States. When I say the United States, they've suggested this is a security risk and that this is not something that they can continue to risk. So they are willing to utilize legislation to ban TikTok in the United States if TikTok is not selling its majority interest to the United States. Now, some of you might be saying, they just saying that. They trying to quiet the people. Everybody is using TikTok. TikTok is the #1 used social platform in the United States. And they just want to quiet people down and keep us from using it. Maybe. That might be one way to look at it. But here's the position of the United States. FBI, the head of the FBI, has advised that it's a national security concern and that the operations of TikTok operating in the United States the way that it does, they are warning the Chinese government can use TikTok to influence Americans through programming and can also potentially take over their devices with software and apps. Now, TikTok owner, a company called ByteDance, and I believe the owner's last name is Chu, so we'll call him Mr. Chu for right now. But this ByteDance company, they have 9 months to turn over the US data that they have collected or be banned in the United States, i.e. selling TikTok to the US. Now, this is something that this is pretty interesting to me as a dynamic. And one of the reasons why I say that it's interesting as a dynamic is because when you look at what Trump tried to do during his time in office, when he had concerns about Chinese run apps in the US, he was shut down immediately. They weren't entertaining any signing of any legislation. They like, gone Trump, up out my face with that. He didn't have a chance. But now here we are, where we're actually looking at either the same or very similar legislation. And that similar legislation is suggesting that the Chinese government has more access to United States intelligences that they are collecting through the use of TikTok than the United States does. So while the United States might say, hey, we don't want to give China this much access to what we consider American intelligences, the United States hands isn't totally clean in this. They're just saying, we don't want you to have the control to spy on Americans. We want the control to spy on Americans. So if you don't give it to us through the app that you're using, we gonna ban it. So as a response, which this is a lot to me. As a response, the owner of TikTok has suggested that by banning TikTok in the United States, they are violating the constitutional rights of its users, and they are also violating the First Amendment right to access to free and legal data. That's what they're using. They said that they're claiming that the access to what they offer on their platform, i.e. TikTok, is lawful and that it should be able to be accessed by Americans. And that without this or with this ban, Americans would be silenced. Their opinions would not be able to be shared. This would quiet over, it was like 90 million businesses and over 170 million users. So while the United States is saying, hey, you're gathering entirely too much information on Americans, and you can't guarantee that their information is even protected, i.e., how you're utilizing it in China, which is a foreign country. The ByteDance owner, Mr. Chu, is saying you can't say that just because we're a Chinese company, we can't operate as we have been, because you're going to end up violating the First Amendment rights of all of the United States users who enjoy utilizing this app. Now, some people that I have heard discussing this topic, they have suggested the same. They're trying to silence us. They don't want us sharing music, and they don't want us talking to each other. So they trying to take TikTok from us. I got a right to TikTok. And I get it, people. I do. But I'm kind of feeling a way about this, because it's surprising me that the main concern of this ByteDance company, which is run from China, which is a Chinese-based company, it's concerning to me that they are arguing First Amendment rights, and that the law is on their side, and that they will have their day in court. I kind of, it's giving sleazy to me. And the reason it's giving sleazy is because I feel like you're trying to emotionally manipulate the people of the United States, because you've seen that manipulation maybe work in the past for other businesses, and they have gotten maybe what they think is their way. So rather than settle some of the concerns that the United States has and put the focus there, which is security, you choose to emotionally incite the country by going for it's a violation of your rights. I think it's mighty funny. And listen, I know some of you TikTokers out there, I can already hear a lot of people who enjoy using TikTok. I'm like, Nacho, I can't go with you on this one. Like, I like my TikTok. I got a lot of friends on TikTok. I got 30 million followers on TikTok. I'm TikToking. And listen, I understand. But why they not TikToking in China? China don't like TikTok? You're a Chinese company? You know what I thought was interesting? That in Beijing, China has banned Google, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. So here this company comes from a country who has banned all your favorite stuff, and yet they want to come over to the United States talking about their right to TikTok. That stinks to me a little bit. Okay, it's got a little tartness on it. And to think that we as Americans would look and say, well, why would your country want to ban social applications? And then you come over to the United States and want to display your social application, but you want to cry about your right to do so. Do you really have a right to do so when you are collecting intelligences directly from Americans and not offering America any access to that by way of ownership? That's not strange to you? That doesn't stand out and go screaming national security? Because here's what could happen. China could say, you know what? America done did the America for the last time. I've had enough. I want to look into certain conversations, certain demographics. We're looking for certain trigger words so we can maybe put hyper attention from our side of the pond on certain people like that through our Chinese-based company app that's being used by the Americans. And America is concerned that, hey, we don't have a way to protect our people. So if you're going to be over here operating like this, we need to make sure that we can protect our people. You can't be over here crying about your rights, thinking that you're going to push the edge of the rights of the people that are already here, and think you can hide behind doing so by emotionally inciting the users to think their rights are being violated. That stinks to me. Now, do I think that the United States should ban TikTok if they ain't playing ball? TikTok is a $220 billion valuation company. the United States sees roughly 24 billion to their GDP of that valuation. That's not enough. You are directly peering into the intelligences of citizens from their mouth directly to your software. And you don't think that the United States would want access to it? Do you think they let Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and so on, you think they get to operate freely without the government in the United States being able to step in when they want to and say, hey, well, let me sprinkle a little of this regulation around here? You don't think that? You think you can come over here and do it while we don't allow the American based companies to do it? And then the nerve of you to come over here and run your little application when you can't even run it in your own country, and your own country don't allow us to run the same over there. The nerve. Now, I know a lot of y'all ain't gonna like what I'm saying. And again, this is Nacho's opinion. You came over here for Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I'm saying, you know what? You got a lot of nerve, the audacity of it all, to think that you could come over here and do American business from a Chinese standpoint and not think there will be some American regulation interjected in order to protect the interest and intelligences of the American people. And you want to manipulate us through trigger words like violation of rights. They're violating your First Amendment rights to freedom of speech. Hey, guess what? Guess what? Your little TikTok. You're not the only platform we get to use. If we want to talk and we don't want to talk about it on your little TikTok, I go straight over to Instagram, make me a video and post it. I go right there on Facebook, say what I want to say in the creepy way I want to say it so that I don't get struck, and say it on Facebook. If that ain't enough, I can definitely go over to Twitter and have my way with the post, and ain't nothing gonna happen. So to manipulate the position and suggest that if Americans aren't able to utilize TikTok because of some ban, that they wouldn't have a way to express themselves, and they wouldn't have a way to exercise their First Amendment rights without TikTok. TikTok, go to hell. That's not the case. And to manipulate emotionally the American people into thinking so that you can get your right and your way, and continue to manipulate people to gather their information and utilize it the way that you see fit and not the way that the country sees fit that you operate in. There's a business immorality right there. So even though you are really manipulating and playing games with the United States citizens, you are also trying to play a very dirty game in the business of the United States. You think you backed up into a loophole and say, oh, well, if I say they violating the rights, we'll get our way. I call bullshit. Excuse me, but that's how I feel. Again, you are over here on Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion, and I call bullshit. Going on with your little TikTok. Either give it to the United States or beat it, and we'll go back to the other applications we was using before you showed up. TikTok has only been here since 2016. I know my Facebook goes back to at least 2009. We'll be all right. And then guess what? The minute you're not there, somebody else will be doing exactly what you're doing, and you won't be able to do none of it because you can't go over there to China with your little TikTok. No. Play ball. That's how I feel about it. Because that's like trying to come into somebody's house and they will not. You tell someone that they have boundaries. There are boundaries to operating and doing what you are, or moving around in my house. And if you aren't going to follow the rules, you can't be here. Okay, no different. You come in here, you want to You want to eat up groceries. You want to wash your clothes. You want to take showers and brush your teeth and go to work and come in. And, then when it's time for the lights to get paid and the heat to get paid and the water to get paid, you done went to work and you looking at everybody like, what you want from me? You've been over here utilizing resources. We need some civilization back into the house. Well, I don't work to give y'all money. I know I'm over here in your house, but I'm not working so I can pay y'all. Where do you gotta go? Listen, I'm gonna slide over here to my chat and check out my chat. I see a couple of people are pulling up. Exclusive Battle League is in the house. Let's go. Make sure you guys check out EBL. I did drop a little jewel that there may be a battle on the EBL exclusive Battle League platform, allegedly called the Blueprint. We'll see. I heard Miss Vicious might be making a appearance. Series Grism is in the building. Listen, if you guys have any pictures, old pictures that you might need restored so that they look vibrant as they did the day that they were taken, make sure you reach out to Sirius Grism. This is your videographer. This is your photographer. He can definitely do some miracle things. He is also the person responsible for the video shooting on the Oplings video. So for those of you guys who are like, who's Grism Vision? I see it on the video, but who is that? Well, he's right there in the chat showing support. Make sure you guys check him out. He wears a number of hats when it comes to the video sphere and the photography sphere. So make sure you are looking into that. Miss Vicious is in the chat. She said, we can't act like all these apps aren't stealing our info. That is a fact. And that's exactly the point I was making when I was saying United States is definitely making sure that they have access to what they need. And the fact that they don't have those privileges when it comes to TikTok is definitely frustrating, and what they are citing as a national security issue. So we're going to have to work something out, TikTok, because I'm not coming on board until I find out what I need to find out about my information being secure. If there's some violation on your application and I have to go through China to get it resolved, I have no assurances that they even care enough to make sure that my issues are resolved. I have ultimately blocked other foreign applications from my phone out of concern that there may be some risk to my information. That one app, Temu, with all the stuff for sale, and Shein and all of those, or Shein, I blocked all of those. I blocked them all because I'm not comfortable with the level of security that they offer me when it comes to protecting my information. I've even heard some people say that once they started using those particular apps, stuff was coming up, charged on their cards that they didn't do, and it was concerning for them. So we're going to have to come to a happy medium, TikToker. Y'all going to have to go. That's just what it is. Ms. Vicious said, I will not be okay. Ms. Vicious said, don't take TikTok away from me. Listen, honey, if they're not willing to play ball, your information could be over in China doing numbers that you aren't even entitled to. And that wouldn't be fair at all. So if Ms. Vicious blows up over in China and they loving it over there, and you're like, okay, well, I'm sure there are some royalties or there's some back end in it for me. You got to make sure. You have to be sure. You have to have your guarantees. And without this company being backed by the majority ownership in the United States, you don't have those guarantees. I don't think. And again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And in Nacho's opinion, I want to see you be protected. I want to make sure that you don't put yourself at risk just because we are enjoying the app. It's not worth the risk to other personal things going on in your life and around your life if they are not going to protect you the way they're supposed to. 21XL, my fave. He said he's making a hit track right now. Listen, I can appreciate putting on a good Nacho Sundays episode so you can get your vibe right and make some hot fire beats good looking. You know, when you cleaning the house on the weekends, you know, doing your deep cleans and your scrub, you got to get down there and there up under them and underneath in there and the baseboards and stuff. Put you some Nacho Sundays on. We have 31 episodes. We have 20 episodes from season 1 of Nacho Sundays, and we got 11 episodes, including this one, 11 episodes into season 2. So that is well over 30 hours of listening time. Go put you some Nacho Sundays on, get your clean on. The house will be cleaner than it's ever been, because we're going to talk about some good stuff in those nachos. Anywho, we are going to move on from our beefy nacho and get into our veggie nacho. Now, on the veggie nacho, my nachotarians know, but for those who are new to the viewership, in the veggie nacho, we talk about health. And this week on this episode of the Veggie Nacho, we are going to be talking about tilapia. Where my seafood boilers at? You know, my seafood lovers at. They love to get some tilapia or a good crab boil or whatever. I don't eat meat, y'all. You know, I'm a vegetarian as well as a nachotarian. But there was some conversation over the weekend, and this has always been something that I have questioned. But where did tilapia come from? Now, I know it might not, you know, seem like a question you could ask yourself, you know, because, like, you know, I thought tilapia's always been around. I could tell you, as a little girl who learned how to fish when my grandfather taught me how to fish, taught me how to bait my own hook, and we would go fishing, we never caught a tilapia. Never. Catfish, bass, even a feisty carp every now and again, but we never caught a tilapia. So I wanted to look into tilapia and kind of get some background on it, because I have some friends who really enjoy this fish as an entree. And once I asked the question, where did it come from? Because it hasn't always been around. They kind of also looked and was like, you know what, you might be onto something, Nacho. Where did this fish come from? I don't remember this back in the day. It wasn't never no tilapia combos. We had catfish and spaghetti back in the day. I don't remember none of the tilapia being there. This is what I found out, friends. Tilapia is actually a generic name for a species of freshwater fish that is found in and around African coasts, as well as the coast of the Middle East. Tilapia is wild in these areas and originally found in the Nile, where there's also been evidence shown that farming of tilapia in those areas has gone back as far as 2,500 years ago. It's been rumored that tilapia was so present that it may have been the fish that Jesus used with the loaves to feed the masses of people. These fish, they are, I'm sorry, let me back up. When this fish was used allegedly to feed the people, at the time it was something called St. Peter's fish. So it wasn't called tilapia back then, but rather St. Peter's fish. Now, this fish will feed on a diet of algae and plants in the wild. Now, tilapia began to see heavy imports in the United States around 1986, where it was coming in frozen from Taiwan, I want to say. And this again is in 86. Now, after consumption of this fish has ramped up to be a mainstay in the seafood players, so to speak, by 2017, there were some concerns showing up surrounding tilapia. Some of those concerns were saying that tilapia was worse than bacon when it comes to the fatty acids within the fish. It says that there was a study showing that this fish was fed a diet of feces from pigs while being farmed. Also, that this fish could cause Alzheimer's or increase it. this fish was fed a number of antibiotics in order to help them grow faster, to be able to support fish demand in the United States. And this fish was also said to contain dioxin, which is a carcinogen, I believe. But, please don't quote me, go check that out, find out what dioxin is. I hear it's something awful. A lot of people were beginning to see tilapia show up on a lot of restaurant menus. After tasting the fish, they actually liked it and didn't realize that it had come with so much baggage. Now, the problem with what's showing up with this fish is that when this fish is caught in the wild, off the coasts of Africa and the Middle East, it's not quite the same type of environment as when this fish is being farmed in the United States. So when this fish was coming in 1986, frozen, people started to farm the fish within the borders of the United States in order to support the demand for this fish. With that being said, farming techniques varied. And when they varied, it also compromised the integrity of the fish. The study that I read to you about the allegations of what was going on with this fish came from 2017. By 2023, it was alleged that this fish enhances inflammation, increases cancer, that this fish fed a steady diet of antibiotics can actually carry over to the human, because these fish are known for being sick because of how they're farmed with the crowding in their tanks. So disease spreads rampantly. So they have to be fed quite a bit of the antibiotics as well as pesticides, because something called sea lice runs rampant among farmed tilapia in certain areas that compromise this fish for eating. There is also a high quantity of toxic levels of chemicals within this fish. This fish exposes the body to heavy metals, especially if you are consuming the liver, the gills, or the intestines of this fish, where those heavy metals tend to concentrate. And lastly, this fish is also showing signs of leaving traces of arsenic in the body. Again, these are allegations from alleged studies, but what it seems to me is that from 2017 to 2023, the risk that this fish is imposing on the human diet, to me, it's not worth it. And where I know some people are saying, oh, well, we catch our tilapia wild. Again, this fish is newly wild. And some of what you may be catching may have been released from an overcrowded farm or fish farm, and they may not have been fed a diet of algae and plants like they are in the wild, but rather the antibiotics and pesticides that they are fed when they are farmed. I know a lot of y'all are like, Nacho, you're ruining my diet right now. Like, I like tilapia. I just want you to be careful. I want you to be able to know what you're eating, understand where it comes from, and what the risk is for that. I don't see a lot of labels on fish. Okay. I see a price tag. They don't tell you may contain heavy metals, dioxin, arsenic. You don't get that label. So I want you to know what you're dealing with when you are buying certain fish brands, and to question. There's nothing wrong with questioning. Where did this stuff come from? You over here watching Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And Nacho's going to give her opinion and get into it. And I want to know, where did this fish come from? Why did they introduce it to our diet in the way that they did? Because of the farming techniques. People wanted so much of this fish that they decided to stop importing it, or stop relying solely on the imports overseas and farming within our borders. And by farming this fish and knowing that they are swimming in disease, basically, so much so to the point they have to be fed antibiotics, and that they are so overcrowded that they have something called sea lice. Sea lice? And they've got to feed the fish pesticides. Now, you guys know we talk about pesticides a lot on Nacho Sundays, because I talk about growing your own food. I talk a lot about being able to be resourceful amongst yourself. And one of the reasons why you want to do that is because a lot of times the food in the markets that we are going to, these public chain markets, they have a lot of pesticide offerings when it comes to your produce. And a lot of times we aren't able to get all of them off, and they might show up in our system in ways we don't want them to. So if they're also giving pesticides to your fish, like, come on. At what point do we say enough is enough? We aren't able to regulate certain meats the way that we used to anymore. The USDA stuff they used to have, it's not what it used to be. So we've got to find ways to protect ourselves. And I do believe that by sharing certain information that I come across by way of the medium of my own opinion, if that makes you go research something, even if it's to prove me wrong, if it makes you go research something so that you can find out I did my job, because I'm going to research. I'm going to go research to make sure I'm not wrong. And if I find a correction to what something I need to say or have said, I'm going to come on here and let you guys know, hey guys, I found out through further research XYZ. That's why we communicate. That's why we talk to each other. And I think something like this is necessary. Who knew you would be consuming so many different things just by eating tilapia, potentially? Heavy metals, potential for Alzheimer's. Do you guys know that they have, I've heard two things. I've heard Alzheimer's is the result of heavy metals on the brain. I've also heard that Alzheimer's is the result of heavy mucus in the brain. I don't think that eating a farmed tilapia pumped up on antibiotics to make it grow faster and carry some of that genetic, not genetic, but some of that medication that they're on, some of those fish antibiotics, carry that over to your dinner plate. That's not fair, especially when there's no label on there to tell you that that's what's going on. So I want you to be healthy. I want you to make educated decisions. And if I can share some education with you so that you can do that, guess what? That's what we're going to be doing over here on Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And with that said, we are going to move over to the Nacho Supreme. And in the Nacho Supreme, that is our knowledge nugget. We talk about things that can help us get through this thing called life, things that will help us understand life, talk about things that we wish we knew when we were younger, that we could tell our younger selves. So this week, the knowledge nugget in the Nacho Supreme is going to be learn to talk to the people that you say you love. Learn to talk to them. Learn to talk to them in the sense that you're not disrespectful in addressing them. You make sure you check on them when you see them, ask how they doing. You might need to put hands on them, give them a hug, or just hold hands with your good friend or a good cousin or your grandma or your auntie. You say you love people, check on them in a real way. Know how to talk to them, body language, know how to talk to them in kind words. And also, most importantly, learn to talk to them when it's difficult to do so. That's when it's going to count. If you got an attitude with somebody, you upset with somebody, you say you love that person, love them enough to pull them aside and be like, hey, hold on, can I talk to you for a second? We okay? We good? You was a little tight. Do we need to go talk to somebody else? Is everything, anything wrong? Learn to have that difficult conversation, because if you say you love somebody and then you feel like that somebody is acting funky, and then you don't go up to them and be like, hey, we good, we okay, but rather go to somebody else like, is so-and-so okay? She acting kind of funny with me. She ain't saying nothing. If you can easily have this conversation with somebody else about them, you need to be able to easily have this conversation with them. That's where it should start first. Learn to talk to people you say you love. Stop saying you love people that you can't carry a difficult conversation to. Because if you can't talk to them in difficult times, you will miss out on holding on to the wrong energy with that person. You could be holding on to an energy that don't have nothing to do with you. Somebody might have been snippy with you. Somebody might have had an attitude with you, but you don't know that 2 minutes before you walked in the room, they just got finished cussing somebody out for 30 minutes. And when you said hi, it was fresh off of the cuss out, but it had nothing to do with you. But if you took it in and was like, so-and-so was kind of dry with me. I don't know why they acting like you always be acting funny, girl, you know, and then here it come. Here come the negativity that you end up having more conversation about than the person who triggered the whole thing. Where if you would have been the person that you said you was, somebody that loves that person, you would have checked on them in love. Hey, you okay? You all right? You need a hug. You frowning. Do I need to go fuck somebody? I'm sorry. Do I need to go beat somebody up? You know, you all right? That's what you do in love. That's how you learn to talk to somebody that you say you love. Stop being so eager to have negative conversations with other people about people you say you love and care about. If you care about that person, that's when it matters. When it's time to talk to them. Somebody needs to, you need to be able to have real conversations with your loved ones and still be loved ones. That means friends, that means family. You got to be able to pull somebody aside and let them know, you know what, you might have had a little one too many tonight. You loud, you doing a lot. You know, I know you're enjoying yourself, but it's you about one sip away from it not being a good look. You know, you need somebody who can have that conversation with you if they say they love you, not somebody who gonna sit back with their drink and watch you. Look at this girl, she can act a fool. Here we go. You don't want that person around you and then they, hey, I love you, boo. You don't want that. So learn to talk to the people that you say you love. Learn how to talk kindness to them, checking on them, making them laugh. And then also learn how to talk to them in difficult times so that you don't spend, so that you do spend more time in the loving energy and not too much unnecessary time in the negative, unproven energy. She might be, well, what if she, well, I heard she could have been. Not none of that is true. The true thing is that you know that somebody you say you love is not their normal self. And if you love them, go check on them. Go make sure that they all right. Show them some love instead of talking about them or making it more of a negative space. You know, make sure you spend more time in the loving place with the person you say you love, as opposed to going off somewhere talking about them behind their back. They could be really going through something and need you. And you know, look at what you decided to do in their moment of needing you. You might have been the answer. And with that said, this has been a Nacho Sundays episode 11 of season 2. I enjoyed my Nacho-tarians. Before I get out of here, I want to say make sure you guys come back every Sunday at 6 o'clock. Okay, on Nacho Sundays. Now next Sunday, I might not be doing a Nacho Sundays. I will say that next Sunday and the Sunday after, I've got some things going on where I have to definitely dedicate my whole Sunday to making sure everything is where it needs to be. And I won't be able to do the show next Sunday or the Sunday after. But after that, it's going to be good and hot outside. We might be doing a Nacho Sundays outside. I don't know. But it should be nice and summering or late springing by that time. Hopefully I have me a little show out or something, enjoying the sun. And I will definitely be back here to chat with my Nacho-tarians. Now, if anything changes where I will be able to do those 2 shows, I will definitely let you know. But from what I'm understanding, I'm not going to be able to do those shows because of what I have to get done. But I'm going to have some great shows planned for you when we come back. So again, make sure you guys are tuning in to Nacho Sundays. And while I'm gone, we got over 30 episodes for you to watch. So pull up some Nacho Sundays from season 1 and season 2. Get your binge watch on. It's nothing more fun than listening to me kick it with y'all and devour nachos with you for an hour back to back to back on a Nacho Sundays binge. And with that said, I enjoyed the show today, guys, and I will see you guys next Sunday.